Yes, thank you. Thank you for joining us again on TRP Live, a program created by the folks at the Reclamation Project, where they believe in no soul left behind. It was started so that we could showcase stories that edify the Christian journey and to have candid discussions on real issues that impact people like today. So, welcome. I'm your host, Stan Mackey. Are you missing out on a better you? Have you limited your health to popular methods while still waiting for your healing? Perhaps you should consider something different. Perhaps you should take a look at another tried and true approach to health. Today, we have with us Dr. Ching Ching Chi. She's a university professor and also a practitioner of acupuncture medicine. And she is going to talk to us about the benefits of this, as I would label it, underrated traditional Chinese medicine care. So, without further ado, I want to invite Dr. Chi to the stage. Dr. Chi, how are you today?
Hi, great. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh,
Hello.
absolutely. Thank you for coming. We're just so happy to have you.
Yeah, I'm so
So,
happy too.
good, good. So, we live in a world today where there are lots of methods, lots of approaches, lots of different, um, let's see, alternatives to Western traditional medicine. And I have to say that I was a late bloomer. I was kind of late to this party, but I learned a year ago after experiencing one of your workshops the oh my goodness, the awesome wonder of acupuncture, where I had never given it a chance before. And I thought to myself, surely there are others who are in the same boat who may have heard a little bit about acupuncture, but really don't know what it's about or understand how it works. And I thought to myself, this is a perfect opportunity to get someone, that being you, someone who, with your credentials, who could do it better. And I just so happened to be a patient of yours. So I wanted to have you on so you could come on and just show the highlights of acupuncture. And so thank you just for being willing to do that.
Thank you.
On this Friday evening, you could have been doing any number of things, but you carved out some time, and I'm just grateful. We're grateful here. So I wanted to just let you start by sharing with us, Dr. Chi, what is acupuncture? Talk about it for us.
Okay, so acupuncture actually it have a very long history. I think a lot of you may not know that acupuncture already being practiced for almost 5,000 years, and then
Wow.
it's being yeah, it's being the only medicine that is exists in China. So we have been using this methods for thousands of years, and on human beings, not for animal. Back then, there's no animal experiments, right? So
Uh
we use
huh. Uh huh.
acupuncture to treat almost everything. You name it,
Wow.
whatever it is, including inflammation, including cold, flu, fever, nodules, tumors, anything that you can think of. Because we view traditional Chinese medicine view a human body like almost like a small universe. Okay.
Okay.
And then in this small universe is a lens and full of cells that actually like plants and they need to be irrigated, right? Irrigation system. So
Mm-hmm.
so in our body there's actually a 12 river of supply. It's like a supplying system, like 12
Hmm.
channels of supply that to supply and irrigates all our bodies. So those are the channels that are actually flowing in between the muscles and the gate in the and gaps in between all the organs. So it's not it's a little it's different than the artery system that we're thinking about. And
Okay.
then we found out that and the body actually being united into one, one body through this irrigation system. So there is a way to connect it or to stimulate or nourish your liver without touching the liver. So for
Wow.
example, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so it's an all the all the organs and the tissues of our body are being united into these 12 different channels. And
Okay.
then it's all connected to your fingers and your toes. So they
Wow.
were asking me which toe or which fingers that represents your liver. Okay, I'll say your big toe, okay, actually can connect it to your liver. So if you have some liver issues, and then we found out that in between the first toe and the second toe, they will have some sensitivities. And then even
Hmm.
we can press on that point, and then sometimes the cramps in the liver area disappear. So
Wow.
through thousands of years of experience, and we found out,
Uh-huh.
okay, every part of our body can be routed and be connected to these 12 channels. And then just by pressing or putting, and then later, at the beginning, we don't have needles, right? So we use
Mm-hmm.
stones to press on the points. So a lot of you may know that's called like acupressure points. Okay, so when we point and when we massage certain points, and then the pain relieved. And later we found out, okay, when the time when they started to have the technology of building, and just to make needles, then we
Mm-hmm.
start to insert needles to that particular magic points, and then that actually increases, and then increases the effectiveness of the result. So if you have some kind of like, for example, I remember that I help your daughter, right? They had
Yes,
this
yes.
inflammations that going on in the neck of the, and then I didn't
Yes.
put
Okay.
any needles, right, at the place that she had problems. And
That's
then I would
right.
just put the needles around the head and around the hands, right? That's where the channels actually go all the way to the place that she had problem, just by putting a needle. And then the body will start to create a waves. Okay, and then waves will increases the
Hmm.
circulation to that area, and then the body fix itself. No
That
medication is needed.
that is just so awesome. Now, I know that you answered this question in part already, but I was wondering if you would just elaborate a little bit more on how the approach to the body and to healing by way of acupuncture differs from traditional Western medicine, because I know that there are people who are watching who, while they know what Western medicine, traditional Western medicine feels like because they've experienced it living here in America, they may not understand philosophically what the approach is. And so traditional Chinese medicine differs philosophically, just altogether the approach. So I was wondering if you could just elaborate a little bit more for the listeners, just to give them clarity on that.
Sure. Uh, yeah, it's very much related to the philosophy and how we view the world. And then in the traditional Chinese medicine, we believe that all your organs, your body parts, they work as a team. Okay, so they interact with each other. They help out each other. So for example, if in the families, right, if sometimes we found out that the kids was very naughty, and then we think, oh, you're bad kids, and then later you found out, oh, because the father is not home. Okay, so it's because
Mm-hmm.
of the father that actually can
Oh.
control the situations, and then the kids won't go wild. So we don't need to punish the kids unless, we just need to put the father back to the position where it is, and then the family will go back to the original order. So same thing, if for example you have a stomach ache, okay, then we will considering, oh, what exactly going on, and we, instead of blaming the stomach, and then we found most of the time we found out, oh, it's because of your stress, oh, because of your liver is too hyperactive and took away all the blood circulation from your stomach. That's why your stomach don't have enough circulations to actually digest the food for you, oh, etc. Okay, and then a lot of times we found out that, oh, people have a chronic cough, and then we found out it's because they have a poor digestion. So the food they take in, and then they digest poorly, and there's a lot of toxins being sent into through the guts, and then they become phlegm that accumulates in your lung. So instead of treating the lung, okay, and then we actually help the digestion system, and then the lung gets better. So we actually look at the body as a whole, okay, and then we're trying to resolve the relationship between each other and make everybody happy. We don't want to punish the one who's weak, But we wanted to make
Hmm.
sure everybody supplied the weakness and then everybody become harmonized.
So let me make sure I understand you clearly. Did I hear you actually allude to the fact that traditional Chinese medicine approaches, healing of the body, holistic healing, and it encompasses not just the physical body, but the mental. So we're talking about
Yes.
an all-in-one solution for both mental health as well as physical health. I mean, you're
Yes,
talking about, yeah, oh, okay.
that's
Can
true
you just
too. Yeah.
so let me just I'll just share with uh I'm okay with sharing this little bit about my own child. I have a child. I'll just say a child at this point and leave them nameless, who has lots of energy. And if anyone who knows me, they know all my children have lots of energy, but one has more than the other. And so we needed that energy to be toned down a bit. And so we came to you, and you did some things that this was not, in all intents and purposes, a physical, not a physical disability, not a physical ailment, really, but as I think the world, for the most part, perceives as a mental issue. But you treated the body
Yes.
like we expect to be treated when we go with physical ailments at the doctor's office. But you treated this mental, if you will, ailment, um, or I'm not even sure how to best characterize it, label it, physical, I mean, a mental, not disability, a mental deficiency, I'll just call it for now, for lack of a better word. But you treated the body physically. So, I mean, acupuncture is providing a solution for both physical ailments and treatments, necessary treatments, as well as mental. Is
Yes.
that
Yes.
how does
Yeah.
it what is it about the approach, the philosophy of ancient Chinese medicine that is able to do this?
Well, we mapped all the emotions into a different organ. Yeah, and then it's also through experience. So for people who actually tend to have a very high tense stress environment, they tend to use too much of their energy in their liver. So their liver function will be hyperactive. Okay, and then people who actually are living in the environment that requires a lot of mental, okay,
Okay.
like thinking, they usually use up their stomach energy. So whoever, yeah, and then people who actually are working under an environment that is very, or they're always afraid of doing something wrong or something like
Mm-hmm.
they
Mm-hmm.
kind of yeah they kind of use up too much liver the kidney energy. Okay, so if you this is actually
Hmm.
your habit, your working habit, your personalities. Well, direct or command certain organs work more hours than the other organs. And of course, functional wise at the beginning, you will start to tire up that organ. Okay. So for example, we found out a lot of the diabetes patients is actually started not because of their digestion system, it's actually they tire out their liver too much. Stress is one of the
Hmm.
major issue. Okay, and then if they tire out their liver too much, and then you know what, our liver is the organs that help to store sugar and also release sugar. Okay, and especially during the
Okay.
time when we're in the flight and fight mode. So in the Silicon Valley where we're at, most of us are always in this flight and fight, condition, and that actually causes our body feeling like, okay, and it's like I always tell my patient that our body was made it's not for surplus, is for the time when we might have starving. For example, in the old time, right, we may hunt today and then we may not have food for 3 days. So we're very
Okay.
good at storing energies if
Hmm.
we're under stress. But if we're not stressed, then we'll say, okay, now it's fine, everything is very peaceful. Then I just use up all the energy and then just break down all the food, and then That's basically how our body survive. So by
Wow.
so in traditional Chinese medicine, we look all these emotions, okay, and also how the physical body responds to emotion, because our mind and tells the order, right, and it tells the body what kind of administration in this moment. Are you in the fight
Hmm.
and fight administration, or you
Hmm.
are at a very
Mm-hmm.
peaceful environment? So if you're at a very peaceful conditions, then you won't worn out certain organs, then you won't end up with certain chronic illness. Okay, so we tend to treat the
Wow.
physical body, and then somehow when that organs get at peace, they're happy, they have full of circulation, and then
Mm-hmm.
they don't lack of food, which means like lack of oxygens or nutrients to deliver to the organs, and the
Mm-hmm.
emotion also get relaxed. Yeah. So today I have a patient.
Wow.
Last week she cannot fall into sleep. She feel very irritated. She wanted to fight with his husband all the time. And then I would just see, oh, well, is there lacking of circulation to the liver? So I was just trying to direct, just stick the needle. Remember, all the channels actually
Mm-hmm.
mapped, to wired to your liver. So I direct the body to send more circulation to the liver. And then this time, this is just the second day, and she came back and said, "Oh, I feel like I've become a different person." I say, "Thank you, Dr. Chi." Like, "Oh, I'm not that irritable anymore." And then you say, "What you have done to me?" Yeah, so we
Wow.
got that many times, and people come for maybe sometimes headache, and then I found out, oh man, headache is gone, and I sleep better too, because our
Oh my
body
goodness.
actually work as one. We cannot make it like a car, so I can just replace one part and then let the other parts.
Oh
Yeah,
my.
that's the fascinating part of how to treat the body as a whole.
Absolutely fascinating. I mean, I'm still learning something new even today as I sit here and listen to you talk. I mean, I remember when I came to your workshop and I was just blown away by this idea that your body can be treated or looked at as a freeway system. That where traffic of nutrients are routed and all throughout the body to different sections, to different organs, different parts of the body. And if you can control the flow of traffic, you can influence or help regulate the organs, which are the final destination. That's just mind blowing. And now you're telling me that we can exhaust certain organs, and
Yes.
in doing so, that it comes at a cost. And at times we feel the repercussions of exhausting an organ because we're pulling too much energy from the stomach or from the liver.
Yeah,
Is that it?
because they share the same resources. So like
Okay.
this recently, this couple of days, we found out a lot of the patients come with the same pulse. We take pulse. We kind of
Mm-hmm.
like a probe into body and then see, hey, what the body started to, we found out that more blood was sending to the heart instead of the lung. And
Hmm.
it's because of during the summertime. Okay. Oh yeah, by the way, we also map each organ, okay, into a different
Okay.
season. So means like in certain season, and then certain organ is in charge, so then they are the one who are in charge. If they are weak, they don't do their job right, and
Hmm.
then your body will get illness because of that. So summer is your heart that is in charge. Okay, so and then
Hmm.
naturally your heart will get all the resources because it's the one to make sure that you can have a balance, and body during the summertime. But because he got the
Okay.
energy and the season that is in charge, and then on the other side, on the above diaphragm, your lung and your heart share the same resources. If all the
Okay.
resources go to the heart, then the lung will start having less resources. And then you found out, okay, how come, Dr. Chi, recently I feel like a little bit shortness of breath? Okay, I
Hmm.
feel like, oh, it's hard for me to breathe deeply. And then it's not helping. Of course, during the pandemic, everybody was wearing a mask, right, and making us
Right.
even more difficult to breathe in the clean air.
Wow.
So for us, if we want to help patients like that, and then we just use needle to shift the circulation from the heart to the lung a little bit, and then you
Okay.
feel more relaxed in the chest. So that's how
Oh,
we do.
wow.
And then you have to remember, all the nutrients, all the antibodies, right? All
Hmm.
are in your bloodstream. So whenever there is a circulation, there is a supply.
Hmm.
Places that have no circulations, that's why the chronic illness start to be long lasting, hard to recover. So as a acupuncturist, traditional Chinese medicine, that's what we're always looking to, where is the place that get blocked, and why the
Got it.
supply cannot send to that area that causes chronic inflammation, never going to, is lasting forever and not recovering. So we look into them and we try to open the blockage and let the blood flow freely to that location, and the body heals itself. We don't really need to
Hmm.
do too much. We don't need to give them a hand by giving them a pills. No, your body is perfect in recovering by itself. It's all
Oh
built
my
in.
goodness.
God created man. He says very
Come on.
good. Yeah,
Come on. Come on. You better preach
very
now.
good. Yeah, very good. We're very good. And then our body actually build, think about how many toxin we put in your body, right? Every day. Our body is able to, is it had the best coping system to recover. Yeah, so sometimes we just feel like, oh, I cannot do it. Oh, my body need this and that. No, trust your body. Your body fixes itself all the time. And then you just need to give them enough nutrients. You just need to rest well. You just need to give yourself a good sleep, and then your body can heal by itself. Yeah, we
Yeah.
have to give them some credit to our body, right?
Wow. I mean, you just seem to be saying many of the same things that the Bible has already said, but just in a
Yeah.
different way. I mean, from the necessity of rest, sufficient rest, to eating correctly, to, oh my goodness. I mean, you're just saying it from a different perspective. Now, I've got to ask you, since you've already broached the topic and you talked about how you have grouped the organs into seasons and how some are in charge in certain seasons and then others are in charge in different seasons. So tell me what's going on during flu and cold season. Who's in charge and why are we? Can you talk a little bit more about who's in charge and why there's so many deficiencies? Why are we experiencing?
Okay, let me do a very little. You know what? Our body actually are following the seasons: spring, summer, fall, winter. Spring, energy start to rising. Okay, summer is
Peak.
the
Okay.
peak, and then start from fall is going down, and winter is the time you store
Okay.
the energy. So in the springtime we need liver who's in charge. In the summertime the heart is in charge. Okay. In the fall season the lung is in charge, and then in the winter the kidney is in charge. Okay. So if you follow the season and take good care of your organs, the ones that are
Hmm.
in charge, then you won't have too much
To
issues.
worry
For
about.
example, yeah, so our body is always constantly balancing self, and then and thinking about it, what will throw this balance out of balance? Maybe you don't rest well, if you eat something
Hmm.
toxic, okay, or you don't follow the weather, which is usually the time when we catch cold. Okay, so our body actually have all the immune systems is ready for you and is
The
serving you,
nutrients.
but
Okay.
yeah, but only when the time, if you don't give them good enough of, I mean, rest enough, and
Supplies.
then
Okay.
supplies,
Rest.
and then and or you change too fast, and they don't have enough time to adjust it quickly enough. So I'll say a one criteria. When during the season, I mean, summer is very hot, and people tend to like to turn on um, the air
The
condition,
AC. The air conditioner.
AC,
Uh huh.
and then so it's very hot, and then you enter into a super cold AC condition, and suddenly you're cold, right?
Hmm.
And then the ports will start closing up to help to prevent the coldness enter into your body, because you're just super hot and all your ports are opening up, right? When it close up, and then it don't have enough, for example, if you don't sleep well that night, so then your body don't have energy to open the pores again, so it
Hmm.
keep on closing it like that. And you know what, our body is a machine that constantly building up heat. So
See.
if the ports are closed and they don't know how to open it, then the heat will start to create and then accumulates in the body, and then people will start having a fever. For that kind of a fever,
Wow.
it's not because of inflammation, it's not because of any bacteria or virus, but if you are continually in this stage for too long, then things get complicated. But at the very
Got
beginning,
it.
very simple. Make your pores open. And how do you do that? In the old time, I believe in many cultures they do that too. Just put a ginger hot tea and drink it and make the pores open and sweat it out and done.
Wow, I absolutely love it, love it, love it. If you had to just give, and we are not done, but I'm just thinking in terms of now that I understand that, seasonally different organs are in charge. I've got it memorized already: heart, lung, kidney, and liver. But as we approach flu and cold season,
See,
are there any tips? Okay.
that's the time when the season change. Well, spring turns into summer. During that time, people have a lot allergy. From
Hmm.
summer to fall, during the time when the season starts to switching,
Right.
the people cannot adjust quick enough, to the environment in charge and in large, and then they tend to out of balance. When your body is out of balance, then you cannot deliver the immune system, right, and efficient enough to the place that needs it. That's how we catch cold or maybe have flu or have a bacteria, a virus infection, so, that's the one of the proof is that, hey, you know what? We live in the same environment, and how come I always get catch cold and the person next to me never get catch cold? Well, because his body is faster enough to balance the
To
changing in
respond.
the environment, and his immunity is doesn't compromise because he sleep a good night's sleep every night. But as far
Would
as
you?
if you, yeah,
Mhm.
go ahead, go
No,
ahead.
I was just going to say, would you also say that it is perhaps that that person has done what it took in the season before to help with that smooth transition? Maybe ate, maybe stored up by on certain nutrients by eating certain things, so that the body wasn't sent into shock, caught off guard, and just didn't have enough time to make the adjustments. Might that could that be a possible explanation for
You
why
got
certain people
you got it.
deal
You got it.
fair?
That's why in Chinese we have, winter diseases we treat it in the summertime. So in the summertime we
Mm,
already prep them. For example, people who have chronic asthma, they tend to flare up in the winter time. So what should we do? We actually already help them in the summertime. And then they will have no flare up in the winter.
oh my goodness. This is just so good. I mean, this is good on so many levels because, I mean, when you hear about in the industry, I mean, in our world, in our society, there's always this call for what's the term that's used to describe people going and, premeditating getting things from the doctor.
Oh, prevention?
Oh, yeah,
Prevention care?
prevention. There it is. Prevention care. I mean, this is it at its essence, but it just seems that
Yes.
acupuncture seems to just really have a an awesome handle on what it takes. I mean, I wish I had understood this or had been taught this because I would be implementing it. I'm that kind of guy who's always looking to try to improve his health. So, I mean, I love this information. You mean to tell me that as I'm listening to you speak, that if I want to prepare for cold and flu season, I need to start treating it,
Yes.
so to speak, in the summer, so that my body has what it needs. It's ready for its transition. It's not caught off guard. Oh
You
my
got it.
goodness.
Yeah, that's the secret. Let me tell you a stories I tell all my students. The first class when I start teaching them, they're just brand new entering into acupuncture school, and then there's a very good stories. That's actually is real story. Okay,
Okay.
okay, and then there's a one famous doctor. His name is called Bian Que. Okay, I know it kind of
Okay.
sounds weird, but I know this doctor. And then he is one of the very famous doctor in ancient time. He's actually recorded in the history book. Okay,
Hmm.
so one day the king called him in and asked him, I heard that you and your brothers are all very skillful in medicine. So which one among you is the best? Oh, then the
Hmm.
Bianche was answering. He says, "Oh, you know what? Actually, my eldest brother is the best, and the next is my second brother, and then I'm the worst." He says, "I'm the last." And then the king was very puzzled and said, we never heard about your brother's name, but everybody know you, right? And then what does this mean? And then Bian Jue replied, so you know my oldest brothers, okay? He says he's very good. He always caught the disease before it happened. So he would
Hmm.
just tell the person, so, oh, you know what? If you start eating cold, you know, you might end up with a diarrhea because during the time now is fall season, you cannot eat cold, okay? And then if you tell this person, and then they prevent them to even enter into a diarrhea. So, so then only the family know he's very good
Ah,
because he's caught the
ah.
disease very very early in the stage. Nobody
That's
know
it.
him. That's it. You don't
Wow.
really need to go
Wow.
through the suffering, right? And then he said, my second brothers, usually when they already start seeing a little bit of symptoms, oh, you already start coughing, it's gone again. Or maybe, like when you catch cold, you already
Hmm.
feel cold in the beginning. You feel like,
Hmm.
oh, my back is starting to kind of feel chilly, okay? And if this time you immediately you drink some warm water and then you're done, you won't end up with a full blown flu. But so that's why he says my second brothers, he tell them at the very beginning stage, and then they give them a little bit of medicine, and then they got
Ah.
recovered. So most of my relatives and my neighbors know him very good, but none know
Ah.
him. But as far as me, he says, 扁鹊, I people only see me treating people are very severe. They already enter
Mm.
into full blown.
It's
They
too
see me,
late.
oh yeah, it's a
Uh-huh.
little bit too late. Sometimes it's already too late. Thinking about cancer, right? It's already,
Yes,
I
yes.
think your body already sound out many, many signals ahead of time, and we
Hmm.
never pay attention, and up to the level that it become irreversible. But you know what? I still believe, if you take good care of yourself, and nothing is impossible. Nothing is
Yes,
impossible,
yes.
but we just need to take care of ourselves instead of putting too much toxin into our body and
Hmm.
then doing too
Hmm.
much of over treatments, and yeah, this is the philosophy that is different than the Western point of view. So
Oh
we
my
focus
goodness.
on prevention, and then we want to cut the problem ahead of time, and then we know the season are coming, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
we know, like for example in the Bible it's also say that, right? When we change, we hear, we can sense that the weather is going to change, right? And then
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
we just prepare it ahead of time instead of just being too late, right, at the end.
See. Oh wow. I absolutely love it. So, I know there may be some who are listening and they want to know questions that they have are well, one obvious question is what can you treat with acupuncture? Now, we've already gone over some things, both physical ailments as well as mental ailments that acupuncture is able to treat. If you had to like provide a short list for people who just wanted to know, well, I don't know much about it. I don't have much time, but can you just give me a short list and then I'll consider what would you say? You know what? No one does it better than us. Come to us. We'll do it. Yeah, we'll take care of you if you have this. What would you say
uh,
if you were to provide a
I'll
list?
say anything related to health we can help.
Mm. Well, that's
Yeah,
definitely.
even though it's not, I cannot say it's a cure, but it's a help. Like, it will help, definitely help. And then we're trying to stimulate your body's own innate,
Mm-hmm.
recovery, and the body will heal itself. And this is the most safe and way to do it, because we know. Sometimes I feel like sometimes, if you're taking some pills, like for
Mm-hmm.
example painkillers or whatever, they also always a trade-off. It's always
Yeah.
a trail. It's almost like the Little Mermaid, right? It says, "Oh, I want to be a man. I want to have my legs." Right? Go to the witches, and then she say, "Okay, give me my voice. Give me your voice. I'll give you your leg." It's always a trade-off, right? So
Yeah.
so we want, because our body, you know what, just see how fast our children can recover from any illness. Okay, that's actually is inside of us. And then
Hmm.
we
Hmm.
just need to let the body, take care of itself. And then if there is some blockage in your body, Okay, let's open it
Mm-hmm.
up. Okay, and then the supply flow freely to that location to recover it. Okay, and then I always wanted to encourage all the audience here. In even in today's, the top scientists all believe that as a human body supposed to live for 120 years. Okay, it's also in the Bible. Okay, Moses said, right? He says,
Mm-hmm.
and then, but Moses also said, no, Moses, not Moses say, okay, in the Bible, there's a verse, it says, I think it's in Genesis, chapter 6, verse 2. It said, Jehovah said, my spirit will not strive with men forever, for indeed in flesh days will be 120. Okay. Even
Mm-hmm.
today, the scientists believe that we human body can live 120. But why
Mm-hmm.
nobody live until 120? Moses
Mm.
actually in Psalm 90, chapter 90, verse 10, he says, the days of our years are 70 years, and our youth because of the strength. Okay. And then 80 years. This word was being spoken about, I will say about 1,000 years ago, right? Thousands of years ago. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
if you Google it, lifespan, lifespan
Mm-hmm.
is expectancy in US 78.4. Without
Mm.
our technology, right? And then
Right.
medicine is so good, right? And
Mm-hmm.
we can survive longer. No, not necessary. It's about the same, like what the Bible
Wow.
recorded. Yeah, why we
That
thought we do so much and it's still about the same. Sometimes maybe we're doing too much.
Wow, that is an awesome observation. I never really even thought about that. How God promised three score and ten, the 70 years, and it just so happened that when you look at the averages, that it floats around that amount right there. And certainly we know people live longer than that, and others live shorter than that. But when we look at those averages, it's floating around what God said that He promised you, so long as you didn't really do anything to nullify his to promise. But how awesome is that? But also
Mm-hmm.
the fact that Moses lived to be 120. I mean, this was a regular occurrence. So if science is saying, and most certainly I can believe that science is saying that, you know what, we really should be reaching 120. It's just that we're doing so much to prevent that. It makes so
Yeah,
much sense. The Bible, besides, the Bible has already said enough to say that that's what would have been the case.
yeah.
Um,
Being alone, if you want to have longevity, one secret I found and see all my patients who are over 90, okay,
mm,
they are always having a very rejoiceful heart. They are always happy, you know.
wow.
Yeah, I think that's the secret. If we want to live 120, we have to be a happy person. Okay, there's nowhere else that we can be happy except in the Lord.
And isn't that some of the
Yeah,
simple principles that he teaches us, that he tells us to be that way anyways? If all we would do, if only we would listen to him and
yeah,
just do what he says to do, we would enjoy our lives much more and for much longer. That is so awesome. So, I got to go back to this. There was something that you said. It had to do with, oh my goodness. Oh, I can't remember that. The question that I do remember I wanted to ask was early on, you alluded to, or you spoke directly on the fact that in acupuncture, philosophically, that you consider emotions to be an organ, or you treat emotions as though they were, I'm assuming, a physical organ. Now, that's just mind blowing because, I mean, not only does that show just how different the approach to the body and to healing and to treatment traditional Chinese medicine is from traditional Western medicine, but how profound is that? So, you have found that if you consider, it's almost like in algebra how we treat X, the unknown. Well, actually, X does exist. We're just looking for it. I guess I would have to go to calculus, where we actually have another situation where there's this something that exists, but it doesn't exist. It's the little I. I forget the name. It's been too long now since my calculus days. But in mathematics, those who are in mathematics at the higher levels, they understand that the way to finding answers in calculus, in a certain part of calculus, is that we have to pretend as though something exists physically, almost physically, although it doesn't exist physically. And I'm hearing you talk about how even though emotions, no one would ever agree that it's a physical or believe that it's a physical organ. If you treat it as such, your whole approach to treating the body, when you treat it as an organ, you get results. Can
Yes.
you just elaborate once more on just this idea that you actually treat emotions like it's an organ in the body and it's mapped out?
Yes, yes, yes. You know what? There's actually another doctor was mentioned. I forgot the name of this. He says if an emotion that have no words to express will cause
Hmm,
an organ to weep. Okay, so
hmm,
our organs responds to our emotion. Okay,
hmm,
so our body in the Bible says that our body created in the three parts: the spirit and the soul and the body. Okay, and then the body actually are controlled by the soul, and then the soul actually can subdue by the spirit if we're following the Lord. Okay, so an emotion actually is the person is who you are. Okay, your mind, your emotion, and your will. Okay, so just thinking about it, if you always, I found people are like remember I mentioned about
hmm,
people who live long. They usually have a very happy and very thankful heart.
hmm,
He always give thanks to
hmm,
people. Thank you so much for helping me this. Thank you so much
hmm.
for doing that. And that, oh, I'm so glad you do this, right? It always speak positive. And then if you are this kind of person, your whole being work into it. Okay, and
Wow.
there's actually I think there is a research done in the Rainbow Children Hospital, and one
Okay.
time there are a group of little boys, and I mean kids. They have a low immune system, so they play and they do experiments and play a little puppy show, and there's one
Hmm.
police and one is like a virus, and then they're thinking about the police were eating up the virus. Okay, and
Uh-huh.
then play that, and then they ask the children to sleep, and then just close their eyes and imagine, the police was eating up
Take
the
it.
virus, and then they
Yeah.
measure them. They found out the immunity boosts up just by thinking about positively.
Wow.
Okay, so
Wow.
our emotions really can make our body function differently, right?
Wow.
So the Bible says, always rejoice, right? Always rejoice is
Yes,
actually
yes,
the
yes.
secret, and in everything give thanks. This is the will of God.
Hmm.
If you
Hmm.
want to be healthy, it's like who start is a chicken egg problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
Chicken.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you have chicken first, and then you have egg first, right? But
Mm-hmm.
speak positive, to start with, because God have already saved us, and there's just full of joy, right? We are saved, we're select, and then we speak faith into each other, and then the body will respond, and our
Wow.
immunity will boost up. Then we will have, this is always true, that people who are negative, their immune system is down. People who are in fear, their immune
Mm-hmm.
system is down. Who people who are strong and who are happy, the immune system
Mm-hmm.
is good. Yeah, yeah. So when we are strengthening your body in a sense, okay,
Mm-hmm.
your body also have emotions, right? And then your emotion will also get better.
Wow.
When your stomach is cramps, nobody is happy, right?
Mm-mm.
Nobody's
Mm-mm.
and then people, when then we found out if the liver is lacking of circulations, and then this person is just very irritable.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter, just little stimulation, they just get angry. So
Wow.
send the circulation to the liver when the liver have enough nutrients, and then people are at
Yeah,
ease.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay, so we've talked about everything. I believe that you have You have sold some people on acupuncture. I think that for some of those that you've pretty much sold it, it may be one thing that's just getting in the way, and it's all the needles. As we were talking just before the broadcast began, I shared with you that for many people that I knew, there was a movie that actually did it for them, or shall I say, it ruined it for them when it came to acupuncture. There's a movie called The Nutty Professor with Eddie Murphy, came out in the 90s. And in this movie, they parodied acupuncture by having the Nutty Professor on a table, and he was when the doctor was saying, "Are you feeling better now?" He said, "No." He kept adding needles. By the time he was done, because he had done that a couple of times, I asked him, "Are you better?" And he said, "No." Are you still hungry? Was the question that he asked him specifically. His whole body was covered in needles. Needles, people have an innate fear of needles. But if there's one thing that I've learned, because I was one of those ones who, when I saw that, I was like, nah, I'm not going to do it. I mean, understandably, I was a much younger mind then. But when I met you a year ago and you shared how philosophically acupuncture was different from the others, I reconsidered it. And when I thought about, and you actually demonstrated, you had someone come up and you treated them at this
Yeah.
workshop. And I got a chance to see the needles then, and they didn't look as scary then. So I was just wondering if you had to, I've just said a whole lot to ask you a simple question. What would you say to someone who just has this fear that they're going to be getting a shot, a dozen, 100 times for every needle that they're getting?
Okay.
How would you help to dispel fears?
Okay. So the needle that we use is actually very thin, like a hair.
Hmm.
Okay, because it's so small that most of the people actually don't feel much. Okay, so we can put like one needles into like injection needles. We can put 10 of them into one injection needle. So that's how thin it
Wow,
is.
that's how
Yeah.
thin they
Yeah,
are.
so it's like not much. So that's why even kids can accept the treatment. So I have yeah, we can show the audience the pictures that I sent it to you.
That's
This is
right.
one of the pictures that I showed today. There's two twins, and they have like a seasonal allergy, and then have cough and stuffy nose, and then the parents don't want to give them any Western medication, so they come to see me, and I was just using acupuncture to treat them. And then they were the whole time they were just focusing on their iPad, and they don't feel anything about the needle.
Wow. So in case if you're listening and you're wondering, okay, this whole needle thing, that's just too much. It's gonna hurt. We have two twin children who are
three
going,
years old.
they're 3 years old. Oh my
Yeah, three
goodness.
years old. Yeah,
3-year-old twins who are getting treated with acupuncture, and look at how they are doing. For anyone who has fears of needles, it's not that bad. It is not what you think. And I think
yeah,
we have some more pictures. Let's see here.
yeah. This. Oh yeah, I have a lot of kids that have like seasonal allergy. Okay, this is
Okay,
also another little boy that he have the allergy, and the parents don't want to give them any drugs, so they come
got
and they
it.
see. Yeah, they love to come to see me. They're very happy because because their parents allow them to watch the iPad
Oh,
during the
that's
time when
it.
they get the treatment. So then
Uh-huh.
sometimes they even ask the parents, "Hey, when can I go to see Dr. G?"
Now, how innovative
Because
was that of their
yeah,
parents? So the kids don't typically get iPads that often, but they get them as a treat when they agree to be
yeah, yeah,
nice,
yeah, yeah,
don't
yeah,
complain, and so they actually asked to go. I want to go see Dr. Chi,
yeah,
so
yeah.
they can get to their iPads.
Save the iPad to the tree to the time when you're going to get a
Yes.
treatment. Oh,
Oh my
there.
goodness,
See
I love that.
another iPad.
And there it
The
is.
three
There it
kids.
is.
Oh, then the one kids they actually have lazy eyes and she cannot focus. So the one on the
Okay,
left side, so that's the one that we're treating for lazy eye is also a very good treatment. And the one
got
and
it.
the other two are common cold and having coughing.
Ah,
Yeah.
And just
So
in case you're wondering, anyone who's watching, there's no HIPAA violation here. Written consent has been given, and we're not
yes.
sharing any names anyway. So
Yeah,
just pictures.
yeah,
Oh, wow. Wow.
yeah.
How cool is that? So if you're watching, oh my goodness, if the children can do it,
Yeah, she's
surely if
very
you're an
happy.
adult.
She's laughing because she don't even feel anything. I took a picture like on the needle or is it on her head, and she said, "What is it?" And she's laughing
Oh,
because she don't
wow.
feel much.
How cool is that? So as we approach the end of tonight's broadcast, I just wanted to just give you the last word to share with us for anyone who's in the Bay Area, which is where we are. Most certainly, my recommendation is that you come direct to Dr. Chi, who's in Silicon Valley. I'll make sure anyone who's watching to post her address information. In fact, I believe we can do one better, and let me just post your website here
No
on
question,
screen.
no question from the audience.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. If there are any questions that we love, we solicit your questions. So we invite you to go ahead and post any. I'm gonna go ahead and put on screen. Let's see. I think we're looking at the testimonials right now, but let me go ahead and pull up the home page, and you can see that this is the website for Dr.
Yeah,
Chi.
that's the beginning when we have a lot of patients that who are having in COVID, and then they would like to treat it with herbal medicine. So I do a telemedicine.
Imagine that. So you have just, yes, you did hear that correctly,
Yes.
that COVID has been successfully treated also with
Yes.
acupuncture, with a
Yeah.
combination. Yeah, yeah, Dr. Chi, just give your one pitch for those who, who may be just a little bit. Well, this has nothing to do with reluctance of any kind, with any other sort of treatment, but rather if you have experienced COVID symptoms and if you have actually contracted COVID, you have more than just traditional medicine that you can use to treat this.
Yeah, post-COVID syndrome. A lot of the patient after COVID is still shortness of breath, and some patients still lost their smell. Okay, and then like chronic cough and lacking of energy. Then we
Okay,
actually help many patients with that condition too. And you know what? The way how we treat COVID is very different than the conventional medicine. It's because
okay,
we change your body's environment, and we learn the virus don't want to survive, don't want it to live there anymore, and it cannot survive.
hmm,
That's how we treat it. Yeah. So
got
I have a
it.
tongue that the picture that I sent in there earlier is like the
Okay,
patients who have COVID, they actually have coldness and dampness in their body. So that when they stick out their tongue is like super white color. So it means that their body have a lot of junks and they cannot get out of the system. So what we do is that we actually help the body to clean. Just like if you wanted to buy new clothes, better clothes, clean your closet first, right? Then you can
okay,
squeeze in the new. So we change the body's internal environment. So then the virus will be not able to survive in your body. That's the goal we're doing. Yeah.
got it. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm gonna let me share these pictures here. We've got a question that just came in. Can you get more information on treating COVID? And you
Yes.
just shared some of that.
Yeah.
Oh, and here's another one that just came in. Appreciate Yolanda posting this question. Can acupuncture be used with
Oh,
people who are having trouble sleeping? Now I know the
yes.
answer to that one. The answer is yes,
That's
already.
very good. Yeah, that we actually can switch your bodies. Sometimes when we're in the flight and fight mode, our body are more in the sympathetic nerve system. We're very hyper. So in
Right.
acupuncture, we can switch that. So
Oh
make
my
it,
goodness.
yeah, very simple. How we do it, we just make the blood flow through your organs instead of being your
Wow.
muscle and skeleton system. And then your body will start to calm down. And only when you are resting, then the blood goes to your organ. So thinking about why people nowadays they have acid reflux, because our circulation are all in the muscles, right? It's
Hmm.
not in the organ. Yeah. So we shift
Wow.
that, then people can sleep better too.
I mean, well, why were we taught this before? This is just so amazing to me that the solutions that Chinese medicine has come up with are simple conceptually. It's just a matter of just applying them, learning how to apply them, redirecting circulation. Too much
Yes,
here, too little there. Shift it over
yes,
here, and then
yes.
oh
Ship
my goodness.
around.
Right, right. Absolutely love it. So we're going to get these pictures up to show the how one of the ways that you actually diagnose people with COVID without actually getting the test done. And then I think that's going to also in part answer this question that Yolande has. So let me go ahead and show. Let's see. Am I showing the correct one first?
Yes, this
Um,
is the patients that with COVID. Okay, and then I tell my patient in traditional Chinese why we diagnose this with the tongue, because the tongue is the piece of meat that doesn't covered with skin, so we can tell
hmm.
exactly the oxygen levels in your blood, and then how fresh is your blood flow is. And then for COVID patient, you start seeing something very similar, is their tongue covered with a very thick coating. That's an
Wow.
indication that the body actually creates extremely lots of fluid. Sometimes it's because of the fighting. Okay, it's also sometimes because your body already, you see, another very white town. Okay, and then what we do is we help the body to get rid of the dampness. That's what we say. And then when the body get the dampness move out of the way, then your immunity can flow to the places where the virus needs, the where the virus is
Yeah.
exists, and then the body can efficiently fighting them. Okay, so of course, if someone who have tongue like this, please do not eat anything cold or raw.
Oh, okay. Nothing cold or
Nothing raw. Yeah. So for example, don't eat salad. Okay. Eat something that is cooked, easy to digest, and then let the body keep the body warm. And then sweat is a good way to get that dampness out of your system. Once your body start opening up, and then the immunity can send
hmm.
to the places where the fighting is, and then you are easy to get better and then recover faster. Most of the patients I treated, like the three tongue that you see, they
Hmm.
recover. They get much better in 3 days usually.
Wow, wow.
Yeah.
Are
Hmm.
you kidding me? That's just absolutely amazing that you can see so much from the tongue, also from the pulse. I always recognize that
And
you're
then can
taking
you show
pulses.
the tongue then when they get recovered, the color? So
Uh, let's see. Uh-oh, let me see, make sure I have that one.
the
I
red
think
one.
I think I may not have gotten
No problem.
here. Let's check the email one more time. Ooh, I'm sorry. I don't see it here. Um, But I think certainly what you wanted to convey is that a tongue is not white, but it is red, showing that there's plenty of circulation. Is that it? That's getting to the
Yes, and
area?
the dampness is removed, and then but
And the
then they
damnness.
restore. Yeah, then they restore their breathing. Yeah, it's hard. The shortness breath. It's just shortness of breath. Yeah, people who have that much dampness and pack in their lung, they cannot breathe.
Wow. Final
Hmm.
thought. We've got one more minute. I just wanted you to just share where you are and, just make your pitch. Invite everyone to come out. I'm going to post the address as well, but I wanted to give you the floor and share your last thoughts here, Dr. Chi.
I'm just happy to be here. And then even though I don't see your face, I'm a teacher. I like to see people's response. I guess
Yes.
everybody's happy for tonight.
Yes.
And they come and have a section, and then we're very good with chronic pain. We're good, very good. I treat a lot of the patient who have 13 medications and ends up with zero. Okay, so if you are willing to try, and then to just let your body take over instead of relying on medication, because a lot of medication has side effects, right? so
Yes.
so it will become
Yes.
complicated, and then it will become one, two, three, four, and ends up with nine. Recently I helped one patient who had 13 medication. Now she ends up with six right now, and we're still working on it. Hopefully I will cut into one. Yeah.
Oh my
So we'll
goodness.
see. We'll see. Yeah, there's a lot of testimony, and if you are interested, you can go to my website, and then and listen to the testimony, and then you have more faith and try it out. And I think we have to be in charge of our health. We shouldn't be relying on the doctors, right? We are in charge. We cannot say, okay, I just you just take the pills and then whatever, right? No, we have to be responsible. We have to eat well, we have to sleep well, right? And we also need to make sure we have a very positive thinking,
See,
enlivened by the Lord, the life in us, and then we'll be the most happy person in the on the earth. Okay,
oh, wow. Absolutely. Love it, Dr. Chi. Thank you so much for just joining us
welcome.
and just sharing acupuncture. If you would just stand by for 5 more minutes, I'm going to give my closing remarks and then I want to debrief with you just for a moment. So you've just heard it here. I mean, if you are someone who's taking medications, not only is Dr. Chi confident that she can do it, but she has testimonies to show that she's been able to gradually wean people off of their medications just by treating the body, teaching the body even effectively teaching the body to provide your body with what it needs rather than getting it from the medication. Of course, that's something anyone who takes medication is what you dream of, never having to take those pills any longer. And well, now you've just learned that acupuncture is a solution for that, one of the solutions for that. And so, care comfortcure.com is her website. She's in the Silicon Valley. I absolutely recommend her. She has treated me, she's treated my family. I absolutely love it. I am a believer now, whereas I was not before. I didn't understand. Now I do. But acupuncture, something that you may want to take a look at. And so we just thank you again, Dr. Chief, for showing up. Thank you for tuning in, joining us tonight. We hope you'll tune in again. And next time when we have another broadcast of TRP Live, remember to share, like, and subscribe to stay tuned of all the upcoming broadcasts and events. And my final message to you tonight is, oh, the depths of the riches and wisdom and knowledge of God. How unsearchable are his judgments and how unfathomable his ways. For from him and through him and to him are all things. To him be glory forever. Amen. Until next time, good night.